It'll become part of your everyday carry, and you'll wonder how you lived without it before.
The Ready Life. Into the country.
Hi, I'm Nick Meisner.
And I'm Lisa, his wife.
And we want to welcome you back to the Ready Life podcast, where we help you become less dependent and more prepared for basic necessities of life, like water, heat, food, and also the power that we so often depend on for these things. And in this week's episode, we wanted to talk about tools, but in particular, often used tools. Because I don't know about y'all, but we use a lot of tools on our homestead, but there's some things that we rarely, if ever, use. It's like once in a blue moon, you know. And then there's some things that we use more frequently, but it might be, once a week or every other week or
depending
maybe
on the projects we're doing.
Yeah, or maybe seasonal, like a splitting maul or an axe or a hatchet or a chainsaw or something like that. But then there are some tools that we use frequently.
Every day?
Yes, and some that we use like all the time, just regularly, every single day, practically. And there's only one I can think of that comes to mind where we consistently use it all the time.
Yep.
And what would that be?
That would be in my pocket right here. A good old-fashioned flashlight.
That's right. We've made it a part of our everyday carry.
Yep.
And I didn't used to do that years ago, but, and I don't know why. Maybe part of it was back in the day, when I was a kid, there weren't little flashlights, pocket flashlights.
They were like these monstrosities that you would keep in the car.
Mag lights.
Yes. They're really good quality.
You could bop somebody over the head with those things.
They were huge.
Yeah, it would do a lot of damage. And then they did come out with the little mini mag lights, but they were like little pin lights. And so they were good for reading by them, but they were not bright at all. So that's probably why I didn't carry a light. But finally, when they started making these pocket lights more powerful, then it was like, that is something that we should always have on us.
Yes.
For more than one reason. They're depending upon, your perspective on certain issues, identifying who someone is and what they're up to could be an absolutely essential thing, and having a flashlight on you at all times is really, really important. And it can be important for threat deterrence. Let's see if I can, there we go. You can, strobe, something like that. That can, if you're in a situation in the middle of the night in a dark alleyway, that can help to buy you some time, get somebody off balance so you can slip away or whatever, things like that. But honestly, even beyond all of that, it's just, I use it all the time, just in everyday life. And what made us think of doing this podcast was I was actually out in the shop looking for something and I couldn't find it. And I reached for my flashlight and it wasn't there. Because I take my flashlight out of my pocket at night and put it on my bedside table so that I have it if I need it in the middle of the night. And it was still there. I'd forgotten to put it back in my pocket, and which I rarely do, but every once in a while I do that. And it just brought home to me how lost I am without this flashlight.
Yes.
I mean, I use it more than I use my pocket knife. I use this thing all the time, but this even more.
Yep.
And I just think it's an essential tool that really, wherever you are, whatever your situation, everyone, in my opinion, should have a flashlight on them. And
and a good quality one that's nice and bright for running in, just going out to your car at night if you've been working a long shift as a nurse or whatever it might be. Having a good quality flashlight that's reliable is really a must.
Right.
It really is.
Working on your vehicle when you break down, or you break down in the middle of the night and you got to walk to the nearest house, or any number of circumstances where a flashlight would be invaluable. So let's talk a little bit about flashlights. And in particular, there's a broad range of flashlights. There can be flashlights that plug into your car, or these huge things that are made to go in your car that are like spotlights. And there's special purpose lights, like this, and all sorts of different lights that are out there. But we're talking specifically about lights that are of the smaller variety, that are very portable, that you could kind of have on your person potentially.
Yes.
And so
this is the smallest one we have.
This is a Phoenix. Phoenix is we've had good success with it. I will say I was kind of prejudiced against Phoenix because I thought it was kind of a cheap flashlight. It's the Chinese knockoff of Streamlight and Surefire and some of those. But we've actually, the ones that various family members have had, they've actually held up reasonably well. We haven't had any issues out of them. Solid aluminum, sturdy. This is a really teeny tiny
really
one.
Small
this
one.
Is the for those of you that might be on audio, this is the Phoenix LD09, and it's not very bright at all, but you can double tap the switch and get a brighter setting. And one thing that's nice about it is that it runs on a AA battery, unlike some flashlights that use a specialty battery. And so that part is nice.
It's very nice, actually.
Now, I will say the nicest in some ways would be rechargeable batteries.
Yes.
But they have their downsides too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But so this is workable. This is actually my mom's flashlight. She was just telling me that for her use, it's actually a little bit too small. And because she uses this primarily as like a bedside table kind of flashlight, and she actually prefers a larger one. And so I'll show you a larger one that she likes. But if you were carrying something around in a purse or something, that could be a nice size.
This kind of a size is really nice if you carry in your pocket, like in your jeans or something.
And I think it came with a clip, and she must have taken the clip off. But if it had a clip on it, the clip is really, really handy for that sort of thing. So then the next...
Is this one a Phoenix?
No, that's not a Phoenix.
Okay.
But just as far
I was
as
going to just show my Phoenix.
Okay. Yeah,
so
go for it.
This is my Phoenix, and this is my bedside flashlight. I don't carry this one because it's a little bit longer than would comfortably fit in my pocket.
And it's the PD32. It's about, 5 inches long?
Yeah,
the other one...
something like that. Here, let's compare them side by side. You can kind of see the size.
Yeah, sorry for those of you on audio. This one may not be quite as friendly, but I'd say the smaller one is about 3 inches.
It's at least 1.5 inches shorter than my Phoenix.
Something like that.
Yeah, mom's is. But yeah, mine is really nice. I really like my Phoenix, and it has multiple settings. It has the lower beam, which is what I keep it on next to my bedside. But then it also has medium and then bright, and then even brighter, and then it goes back down.
One thing that I like about yours is it has this button.
Yeah, that's what I was pushing.
That you can push to change the brightness settings. A lot of the others don't have that, and you have to double or triple tap the main button on the back to change the brightness. So that's nice, and then it remembers your last setting, and it turns on at whatever setting you were at when you turned it off.
Yes, so I like that because then I keep it on the lowest setting so that way the battery lasts the longest. And then if I need to go outside or, if I need to check on the animals outside or something, which we occasionally do because we've got wild animals that like to come around at night, then I can just easily push this little button and it's much brighter
But question, would you actually carry that around in your pocket?
The answer is no. And the reason is just because it's too big. It doesn't fit comfortably in my pocket anywhere.
Right.
Especially with women's jeans or pockets. Typically, they're a lot smaller, and it doesn't fit very well.
So that's your bedside table.
So this is my bedside table one.
Flashlight.
The one thing I don't like about this one, which was really nice about Mom's bedside, is that this one does not operate on the AA battery. This one operates on 2 lithium batteries.
Yeah, the 123A, the 123A lithium batteries, 2 of those. Which are not rechargeable, and they're kind of spendy, but they enable you to get a lot of brightness. They pack more punch than comparable like AA, and they do really well in cold weather, and they last a long time. So if it's a flashlight that just sits there for years and doesn't get much use, then lithium is a really nice option because it just hangs in there for, I think, 10 years shelf life, something like that. So that's nice. But since we're talking pocket carry, let's show what you actually have found that works well for you.
So this is my pocket carry one. It's not as thin as Mom's. So it's a little bit larger in that respect, but it's a little shorter than Mom's.
Yours is the Streamlight ProTac 1L.
Yes.
And the 1L stands for 1 lithium battery.
Yes. So this one's got only 1 lithium battery instead of 2, which is nice. And it's small, and it's got a nice pocket clip, so I can clip it in. I don't generally use the pocket clip very much because in my jeans, it stays just fine down in the pocket, and it fits very nicely in there, comfortable. So that's why I like to carry this one the most. And it also has multiple settings. Of course, it's a double tap. The first setting I have is the brightest, and then the second setting is the strobe, and then the third setting is my dimmer light.
Right. That's what we like to set for the Streamlights. They have that kind of a system, and there's a few different options, but we like setting ours where the first thing, if you just push the button and that's all you do, it's the brightest setting, because if you're in a panic, you're in an emergency situation, you want as much light as you can get. If you're needing dim light, that just for reading something or longer lasting battery or something like that, you're probably not in an emergency situation, and you can take the time to go 1, 2, 3 and get the dimmer setting.
Yeah.
And then your battery will last longer if you use that. And so if you don't need the brighter, then you can use the dimmer. And save your battery.
Yes. And there are times when I like to use the brighter setting just because I'm getting home at night and I just want to survey something and just make sure that, I don't know, the area is clear or something.
And this is such a tiny flashlight.
It's so nice.
There's no way that a AA would work in there. That's why they had to use the lithium to get that kind of brightness with that small of a form factor. So that's really nice. For mine, for my hand, that one is actually a little bit on the small side. It would work. I could make it work, but I actually like one that's a little bit bigger. So I also have a Streamlight. I feel like with Streamlight, you kind of get the best bang for your buck. It's high quality, American made, I believe, but yet you're not paying top of the line like Surefire. Surefire is awesome. They make great stuff, but it's really, really expensive. And so Streamlight is kind of a middle of the road for me. And this is my everyday carry is the ProTac 1L 1AA. And what that means, it's kind of a cool arrangement because it can work with 1 AA battery if I want, or it can work with 1 lithium battery. Either one will fit in here. And if I use a lithium battery, then I can actually get a little bit brighter spotlight than with the AA. And it will last a little bit longer too, I believe. But with the AA, it's of course a lot less expensive. And so that's what I generally use is in AA mode. unless there's some kind of a special situation where I know that I just need the absolute brightest I can get. But this works really well. I do use my clip. I have mine positioned in the downward position, and I've just gotten so used to it over the years where I can just, whip it out very quickly and have my light on. I can quick draw with it and have my light on very fast, and it's just instinct. I just reach for it, and the few times that I reach for it and it's not there, it's like, what?
Yes.
And
Feel like you're missing something major.
Exactly. So those are our everyday carries, but still kind of in keeping with the small form factor. Another light that I have, this was kind of one of my early lights. It's a Stream light, or a Surefire 6PX Pro. And this is kind of one of the more economical Surefires. This isn't one of their high-end flashlights. And it's bigger, kind of more clunky. This would make a good bedside table light, but it uses the lithium batteries, and it's not super bright. It can, it's not bad, but for something this size, you can get a lot brighter than what this is. But it was a fairly economical one. I don't even know if they still make it, but it's very tough, very nicely machined. I mean, just taking the cap off, it's so smooth and more nicely machined than the Streamlight, but we've had good success with the Streamlights. Then you showed your Phoenix, and then the last one that we wanted to show you, we've got quite a little collection of flashlights here. This one is the Phoenix TK16, and it's kind of a big boy, and it has a rechargeable battery, which is nice. And it's really bright. I forget. I think it's like 1,000 lumens or something, where my little pocket carry, it's, I think, 400 lumens at the brightest and 40 at the dimmest, I think, something like that, if memory serves me right. Anyway, this has different settings, and it has a auxiliary button there for adjusting the brightness, where you can push that and it'll go dimmer or brighter. And which is nice. I like having that. That is more convenient than having to double or triple tap the back button. But it is a much bigger light too.
Yes.
But it's tough, and it is rechargeable. Now, some rechargeable batteries these days will even have a USB plug on them where you can charge them up that way, where the battery is not removable. I'm not sure what I think about that, because it strikes me that could be a bit of a weakness in the light. I think I'd be okay with that in a headlamp, but for a pocket carry that gets kind of beat up, I'm not sure what I think of that. But this particular one, it's got a removable battery, but it is rechargeable. This is what's the kind? I don't know, ARB L18 3500, whatever that is. Anyway, it's a rechargeable battery. So I think having a variety of flashlights is a really good idea. Having them in various places is a good idea. Having one in the car, one at your bedside table, things like that is a great idea. But I think the best idea is having one in your pocket with you all the time. If you've got your pants on, you've got your flashlight. Unless you do what I did earlier today and forget
empty out your pocket.
Yeah. But anyhow, it'll become part of your everyday carry, and you'll wonder how you lived without it before, if you aren't already carrying a light.
Now, it is worth mentioning that having a headlamp is also another, like a headlight, is another really advantageous tool to have, because when Nick goes out to get firewood in the winter, or even in the spring and fall when we're still heating our home, it's nice to have a headlamp. Or if I have to go out and get one of the chickens from the coop for some reason because we're taking care of something, or any little thing where you need to run outside for something, to grab something out of the car, having a nice headlamp so you can be hands-free is really, really valuable.
Yeah. A good headlamp is on my wish list, but this is a cheap Energizer one that, we've had it for how many years? I don't know.
Yeah. So if you have any recommendations for a really good quality headlamp that's
I already know
easy
which
to
one
use.
I want.
Yeah, he's got his heart set on one.
It's on my birthday or Christmas list.
Christmas wish list. Yeah.
Right.
Birthday and Christmas wish list.
But in lieu of a headlamp, you can always use the clip of your flashlight. For instance, one little tip here, just in case you weren't aware of this, you can often flip the clip around like so. And then if you have a ball cap on, you can clip this on the brim of your ball cap, and you now have a headlamp. And I have done that on numerous occasions, and it works reasonably well, actually. And another thing that I've done is clipped a light on my shirt or on a pocket of my shirt. So anyhow, I hope that's super helpful to you. Don't be without a flashlight. You got to be able to identify things, and it's incredibly helpful on the homestead or wherever you live, and highly recommend it. So we'll see y'all later next week. Hope you have a good one.
Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.